Great Reset with César Vidal and Lorenzo Ramírez.
Very good morning, very good afternoon, very good evening, and above all, very welcome here to César Vidal TV and to this journey that we make weekly on the tempestuous territories of geopolitics, geoeconomics, and geostrategy. Welcome to the Great Reseteo, whose pilot, as always, and also with his special skill, will be Don Lorenzo Ramírez, who you already know that he always brings an absolutely overwhelming documentation, that he has a very personal and unsurpassable style, and that above all he knows how to approach the problems in a way that sometimes it seems that we are in the last chapters of the apocalypse and we even laugh. Well, Don Lorenzo is here, and let's see where we are going to go this weekend. Good evening, Don Lorenzo. Where will our itinerary be today?
Very good evening, Don Cesar. Here we are, another Saturday. There is less time left for the return of the voice, and we are going to continue to unravel here at César Vidal TV in this great reset that has not evolved even on a single Saturday throughout the summer, the keys to the great social engineering operation in which we are immersed. Intelligence services, governments, businessmen need to mutilate the speech of the dissidents to cut it down in order to reduce as much as possible the social contestation. Last week, we went deeply into the activity in social networks aimed especially at eliminating this criticism of the globalist agenda with this analysis of the ELISA project. Many have been surprised, no wonder. It is a directly official project of the National Intelligence Center, and that has served us as a touchstone. But surely in all countries there are similar projects, and that aims to comb the internet to locate and destroy the story that goes against globalist interests. This is going to be the year of censorship. We have had the year of the pandemic, notably, then at the propagandistic level, especially the Ukrainian war. I'm not saying that the Ukraine issue cannot be solved because it is part of a larger process, but we are going to go to total censorship. Total censorship, many laws are going to be passed in the West that are going to restrict freedoms, and artificial intelligence is going to be used to locate these dissidents. Today we are going to open the focus a little bit to focus on the real cybersecurity risks that exist for Western countries, which have nothing to do with the actions of Russia or China, but have their roots mainly in the big US tech companies. Some time ago we did a program on these big technology companies, and it is a topic that has been a bit of an ingredient, if not the main one, at least a secondary ingredient in many of the programs, and at the moment they have hijacked a very relevant part of the intelligence agencies, blurring that thin line that separates the public from the private. Not because there are businessmen sitting on the boards of companies like Google or Facebook. The intelligence agencies have been hijacked and placed there.
Exactly, that is an extraordinarily relevant nuance.
Then we say, who is directing whom? Well, we don't really know. We see that there are certain characters that are passing from one place to another, and that are usually the central elements. Eric Schmidt, the former head of Google, is one of them, and we're going to talk about him at the end of the program. But perhaps the focus was put mostly, or is put in the last few months, as another representative of this military, industrial, technological complex. The case of Elon Musk, who has been growing in popularity lately, and then Mark Zuckerberg, that of Meta, that of Facebook, which a few weeks ago at the beginning of last July jumped into the mainstream media because we were told that Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk had started a legal battle because the former, the founder of Facebook, now called Meta, had decided to launch a new social network called Threads, which means threads, and which is a copy of Twitter, a virtual clone of Twitter, which is a company now run by Musk. Recall that Facebook is a creation of the US intelligence services, as we explained here in detail in the program we did on the popular social network. This stems from a project of the Pentagon's Defense Advanced Projects Agency, DARPA, called LiveLog. The same day that LiveLog is buried, Facebook is born. We don't believe in coincidences, and we discovered that members of DARPA were part of Facebook's board of directors when it started, of that Facebook in its early days, didn't they? This is perfect, because if you think about it, there is no need to spy on anyone. You put your life on the internet yourself. There is no need to spy on you. You take it and say, I just came from shopping and I bought this. Look how tasty this is. I'm meeting this guy later for a drink. This is the music group I like the most. The intelligence services are rubbing their hands together, aren't they? Saying this is great. You don't have to do anything wrong. Musk took advantage of this fight, the one I'm talking about, to set up the circus which is what he likes the most, in the background with statements of all kinds, insulting Zuckerberg, challenging him to a battle of virile limbs. I believe that Musk has rarely been so over the top. Yes.
He was very grown up, yes.
I don't know, maybe he knew about the other server status, right? In these cases, it's a gamble, isn't it? Also showing that their rivalry goes back a long way, something that many consider a proof that Musk opposes the dictatorship of big tech, even though he is one of its main promoters, as we have also been demonstrating here, and we talked about it in the monographic program we dedicated to his figure. In short, this is what has transcended this corporate fight, but what we have not been told is that in reality, this is a fight to see which of the two harvests more user data. A fight between shepherds to see who has more data on their sheep, to be able to determine their movements and no longer control them, directing them, but anticipating them. Because that is what artificial intelligence is all about. Within hours of its launch, this new network was already applying censorship and collecting user data without their knowledge. They are currently testing this during the trial period. What they are testing is not that the application works correctly in the public eye, it is that it works correctly in their backyard. Meta, which was renamed for the metaverse, it was Facebook, now it's Meta, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc., has through its companies 80% of the global market outside of China, and Russia is worth mentioning. Today's discussion doesn't impact China and Russia. They have another technological component. This year, I think, in the next season, we are going to give a big reset to the military and industrial complex, especially the Chinese technological complex, so that they can see the big differences with respect to the American one, especially organizational. And in the end, well, this will give Meta a much greater power than any government or even supranational entity. Does this mean that it will work out well? No. They tried to launch a coin and failed miserably. The famous pound, which was the currency.
The coin turned out badly. It looked like one of the last productions of the Disney factory. Oh.
I am going to make a confession. I have the feeling that Meta is put there to fail in many elements, while others are succeeding behind. It's the real genius, because it has gotten so much exposure that it can be used as a kind of shield to make us look elsewhere. I'm getting more and more of that feeling. It's a feeling.
They'd be telling us, look, Meta, and meanwhile they're doing it with speckled.
And in the meantime, you get Meta on the other side. Then indeed, that would be the situation. That would be it. And the point is that Zuckerberg and Musk are not the only ones who are creating a network of global censorship and data harvesting to feed that artificial intelligence, to be the basis of the new technocracy. Technocracy needs artificial intelligence because humans can't be watching other humans all the time. They have to be machines. That's where the key is. Yes. And who is there? Google, which has just publicly admitted that it applies a continuous and permanent tracking of everything that happens on the internet for this purpose, to feed its artificial intelligence. All our friends will remember that a few months ago, I think almost a year, Google's user conditions were changed. Of course, in the end, it says who does not use Google. Well, who uses it more, who uses it less? It is true that there are many of our friends, many subscribers who do not use it, but the common mortals use it. So in that agreement, in that kind of contract, they said, well, we are going to collect all your data, but only to make predictive artificial intelligence in the linguistic area. That is to help you when you are going to write something, etc., etc., etc. That has changed. And now what's coming up is that it's all geared towards feeding artificial intelligence. As the geopolitical analyst Patrick Wood says, I recommend his books. Data is to technocrats as heroin is to drug addicts, who in order to get it are capable of lying, stealing, and even murder. And a few weeks ago, Google updated its privacy policy, the one that nobody reads. You must agree to continue using the service, acknowledging that all our internet activities will be monitored. What we do on the network under the Google umbrella, one of the Alphabet companies, because Google is a subsidiary of another company called Alphabet, that contemplates some kind of company involvement, will be registered not only to offer us customized products and ideas, as it has up to now, but for the creation of a super brain that will be directing what we are seeing and therefore influencing our thoughts.